Hello, dear friends. Another anxious day, although we must remain calm. I live without living in me, and so high a life I hope for, that I die because I do not die, as Saint John of the Cross said. Opinion piece. Ides of March. Another fateful day. Prophecy fulfilled. Heart attack news. Banking turmoil. Financial chills. Massive stock sell-off. Oil prices fall. Gold is gaining strength. Credit Suisse plummets. Swiss government to bail it out. Banking sector in turmoil. European banking collapses. Investor concerns. Global market crashes. It would be like Lehman Brothers. First Republic Bank is on its last legs. Global market powder keg. Fact checkers are not journalists. Exposure of the economic system begins. New sighting of the Loch Ness Monster. Let's start. Watch out for the Ides of March. Stock market dropped sharply as Credit Suisse shares plunge below $2. The Ides of March are here, but they are not over. This is living without living on doom and gloom news, in the hope of something better. The Ides of March in the Roman calendar corresponded to the 15th of March, which is when Credit Suisse collapsed, but in the ancient calendar it corresponded to the full moon, which was last Tuesday, March 7th, when the banking crisis began. It seems to be a deliberately programmed calendar. 3 US banks failed within a week of the full moon. The Ides simply marked the appearance of the full moon. This parallel could be a coincidence, or the conspirators could have chosen this historic date. Credit Suisse is collapsing and other banks are in danger of collapse, while stock markets are falling. The Ides of March was the most famous of all the Ides because of the assassination of Julius Caesar on that day in 44 before Christ, which still survives as an act of utmost infamy and is considered a turning point in the history of ancient Rome. Shakespeare, in his play Julius Caesar in 1599, quoted it when he wrote the famous lapidary phrase, "Beware of the Ides of March." Plunge. Credit Suisse plunges 28%. Credit Suisse shares plunge to an all-time low. Credit Suisse ignites global market meltdown. A massive sell-off spread like wildfire across world markets. Credit Suisse is sinking dangerously. Shares in Switzerland's second largest bank plunged on Wednesday after its biggest shareholder indicated it would no longer invest in the bank. Credit Suisse shares plunged 24% on the Zurich Stock Exchange on Wednesday, sending other European banks tumbling after they had lost as much as 30% on a grim day for Switzerland's second largest bank after its bigger shareholder, Saudi National Bank, refused to give it further financial assistance. Credit Suisse needs a capital increase or dissolution, says Morningstar. Swiss government pledges to rescue Credit Suisse after Saudi Arabian National Bank rules out additional aid. Switzerland's central bank says it will help Credit Suisse if needed. Swiss regulators offer a financial lifeline to Credit Suisse. Reactions. Oil prices plummet. European banks plunge, dragged down by Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse closes with a 24% drop and European stock markets fall more than 3%. Consent triggers a massive sell-off in global equities. Sweden's largest pension fund invested in Silicon Valley and Signature banks before they failed. The Bank of England is in emergency talks with its counterparts. Gold is gaining strength. That is a good sign. Gold ends at a 6-week high due to the turmoil. USA. US banking stocks plunge. The Dow Jones closes down 280 points on banking sector's distress. Stocks fall and treasuries rise. JP Morgan falls more than 5%. Citi falls more than 6%, and other banks are in trouble. The Fed's emergency rescue plan has not ended the banking panic, according to Michael Snyder. Banking giants attract a flood of deposits after the collapse. Bank of America won big with Silicon Valley Bank failure. Money rains down on Bank of America with inflows of over $15 billion. First Republic Bank downgraded to junk by Fitch ratings. 10 more banks are exposed to unsecured stock. Israeli bankers and tech companies pulled $1 billion out of Silicon Valley Bank before it failed, according to Frankie Stokes. The Federal Reserve will launch the FedNow instant payment service in July. Mar-a-Lago spies sentenced to 20 years in prison for wiretapping. The Defense Department is funding experiments on ferrets to determine whether radio frequency may be causing Havana syndrome in humans. Justice Department arrests Chinese billionaire Guo Wengui, an associate of Steve Bannon, for allegedly running a $1 billion fraud scheme. China's central bank accepts Xi Jinping's call to fight boycott. Opinions. More banks could fail, wants Larry Fink. Larry Fink wants that another domino could fall soon. Silicon Valley made one of the most elementary mistakes in banking, says Larry Summers. Billionaire Ken Griffin says capitalism is collapsing before our eyes. Nouriel Roubini says the collapse would be like a Lehman Brothers moment. According to the X22 report, the more the Davos Forum pushes, the worse it gets from them because they are not in control. The exposure of the economic system begins. According to James McConnell, what we are seeing now from all the chaos and turmoil going on is the end of the old ways, the end of the matrix. Let go of the old illusion, go beyond it to create what you want in life and how you want your life to continue. Spain. The Spanish stock market plunges 4.37% on fears of Credit Suisse bankruptcy. Spain puts an end to the mantra of the unsustainability of the system. More income for better pensions. The Spanish government has agreed with Brussels the first reform on the pension system that doesn't involve cuts. Tamames' speech is leaked. The politician and economist Ramon Tamames, Vox candidate for its motion of censure, will defend the Spanish transition on his speech on Tuesday, 21st March, while calling for the general elections to be brought forward to 28 May. He will criticize the idolized Second Republic in the law of democratic memory, and will call for a reform of the electoral law so that pro-independence parties do not achieve excessive representation and influence in the Spanish government. Bizarre. 4 crypto billionaires found dead in mysterious circumstances. Fact checkers are not journalists, according to Dr. David Martin. When was the last time you remember a policeman arresting a politician? I can't recall such an event in my lifetime. New Loch Ness Monster sighting. The latest images show that one enthusiast believes to be the first sighting of Nessie in 2023, claiming he couldn't believe what he saw and that it was too big to be a fish. Rats with backpacks could help rescue earthquake survivors. Argentina is experiencing the harshest summer in its history with a record heat wave. Ukraine. Russian fighter plane collides with a NATO drone in the Black Sea. Pessimism grows in Ukraine over shortage of qualified troops and losses, according to the Washington Post. Russian general threatens to use Poseidon torpedo to sink UK if NATO sets foot in Ukraine. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.